What is up, everyone? It is Saturday, July 9th of 2022. I don't know why I almost caught myself up saying the word July right now, but we're here. We're back. Family Education Support Group, Saturday. It's right 10 o'clock on the dot. So let me just give a quick introduction of myself and kind of the intention for this specific talk. I'm a little bit excited for it because it's something that we have not, that I've not done in the past. And it's something that's kind of newer content, and it's something I'm excited to share. So let me give a quick introduction of myself. My name is Param. I am the facilitator and the host of this weekly family education and support group geared towards addictions, mental health, codependency, rebuilding trust, learning communication, and just the whole recovery and healing process itself. So I have a master's degree in marriage and family therapy with an emphasis in child development, which kind of really looks at the human development across the lifespan, if you will. I'm a licensed advanced alcohol and drug counselor. I am a high school basketball coach, and today, after this talk, I will be going to Corona Del Mar High School, where we have 2 basketball games today. I'm also in recovery myself, so June 13th of 2008 is the day that I changed my life around. So it's been a journey. It's been a while. Still trudging the road to happy destiny, as they call it in the rooms of recovery. And today I am excited to share this one because a lot of people, they don't know what happens inside of treatment, and they don't know what happens inside of Buckeye Recovery Network, for example, when it comes down to, hey, what are people working on? What do they see? What kind of stuff do you guys expose them to? And back in 2017, 2018, I personally realized that the space of mental health and substance abuse treatment was not up to speed with the way that individuals learn, individuals engage, individuals think. And what I mean by that is many of the treatment programs were using just the same material that was recycled from the 70s, from the 80s, just like stuff that looked outdated. It wasn't the same way that the young adult population, or just all of us even now, have been conditioned to learn, right? We're all a little bit different now, whether you think it or not. Just as a byproduct of the evolution of life, we've also evolved in the way we learn evolved. So, I created, with the help of some people, but I created this workbook that we use at Buckeye Recovery Network. And this workbook has a series of worksheets and a series of assignments and activities that are all geared to help the individual gain insight and awareness into their behavior patterns, into their thought processes, into the way they engage, they interact, the way they live their life, with the ultimate goal of just like waking someone up, creating the psychological and emotional muscles to take some actions contrary from the actions they were taking in the past, to ultimately lead them to a different destination. Okay. So what I'm going to do in today's talk is I'm actually going to pop open our workbook. I'm going to share the screen with you. And if you're wondering, well, hey, I'm not a program participant, or I'm not someone that's struggling with addictions myself, I'm here because my loved one, I'm telling you this. I've said this numerous times before. The family recovery and the individual recovery are almost identical, right? Because the individual struggles with the drugs and alcohol and the withdrawals of it. The family member struggles with the fact that the individual is their drug oftentimes. Oftentimes, they are experiencing the same psychological and emotional consequences as a result of loving someone going through addiction. So therefore, the assignments for these can be very similar. Okay, now I've never, and good morning, everybody that's here right now. Welcome back if you're here for a second time, third time, 10th time, second year. Feel free to share this with anybody that you think might find some added value from it. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. Let's see if I know how to do this. Yeah, let me start it from the beginning. Okay, let me just remove this. Sorry, technical difficulty, but I will get this done. I practiced it before I got on today. I promise you that. So let me get this to the beginning. And if anybody has any questions, comments about any of the content that I'm about to show, feel free to ask questions. I do my best job to always respond. So pretty much what I'm going to share with you here now is what's up, Martha? Good to see you. I'm going to go over this workbook I'm proud of. I made this myself years ago. But I do want everybody to see what this is. So, and I do have the comments. It says I should have the chat up here, so I should be able to see if you write anything. And I'm just going to go through this, and I'll tell you, some of the assignments. Obviously, there's a lot of assignments, and it's really organized and all that kind of stuff. But there's some that I just want to stand out, and I'm going to talk about why these are important for people that are trying to heal from mental health or heal from addictions or kind of just get to a different place. So the very first assignment that we have in this workbook is, they all have little prompts like this. And by the way, if you notice how there's a lot of negative space inside these pages, what negative space means, it allows for individuals to have different types of creativity with how they want to fill this out and how their mind is going to allow them to engage with the work. Some places are just like hardcore paragraph format and just like school textbook format, and some humans have a hard time with that. So the first assignment, and this is all strategic, and I'll tell you why these are in here. So it says the greatest pleasure in life is accomplishing what most people say you couldn't do. And the first assignment, it's bold, it's right in your face, and it says write a letter to anyone, including yourself. And now that part's really important, who has ever doubted you. And it starts with dear haters. And I'm telling you this, I've done this for so many years now. Majority of people write this letter to themselves. They write it to their inner critic, to the critical voice inside their mind that tells them they can't do it. Well, you know what? This simple assignment, and some people write it just this one page, some people write multiple pages. This simple assignment allows the person to do what? To find their voice, to break through and smash through that negative loop that tells them they can't do something. They can't succeed. They won't be able to. They're not going to be able to go from here to the next stage in their life, right? Yeah. And it's and you're really welcome, whoever's saying over there, Martin. Oh, Martin, I think this is from Ireland. Hey, I want to thank you. It's really cool. You reached out. Someone reached out and they said you've been watching from Ireland, man. And I just want to say I'm going to put this one up real quick. Thank you very much for your continued support and help for people who struggle with recovery on a daily basis. Gratitude, brother, from Ireland. That is so freaking cool. I just want to say I'm grateful for that, to be able to connect across the pond with you guys over there. So, hey, and by the way, check this workbook out. I know you can't come to Buckeye Recovery Network, but this is what we do with people over there. So, hey, just take it as it is. I'm going to go through page by page with this thing to hopefully inspire some action. So let me get it back to my full screen again. So the next one that I have here that I want to kind of talk about is this one. This one's important because I believe that all human beings, we have the knowledge, the wisdom, the power to be able to persevere and be resilient through obstacles. So the prompt is simple. It says, tough times don't last, but tough people do. And it says, write a pep talk that will help you get through a really bad day. Whatever you're going through, always remember that this too will pass. Why is this so important? Because it allows the person to be able to sit down for a second, to think, to rise above their current thought processes, and see, what do I need to write to myself that one day when I want to quit, when I want to give up, when I want to turn away and walk away, what can I do that'll help me get through that? And I'm telling you, some of the assignments I've seen people fill out here are so powerful. If they could just grab that paper when they want to quit and read it to themselves and say, you know what? Whatever I'm going through right now is temporary. Whatever I'm going through right now, I'm going to be able to persevere through. And here's the piece of paper that's going to show me. I've had people use this simple assignment to help them get through a potential relapse, help them get through a potential bad decision that they made in their life, help them get through something that they would have regretted. And you never know when you're going to use this. So if you're having a good day right now, maybe go write this assignment out. Because guess what? There will be days you might need it, and there might not be anybody around to give you a pep talk. Open this thing up and read it. There is some power to it. The next one I want to go through And this one's really cool. So this is this workbook is very therapeutic in nature. Okay. So again, whoever's watching this from wherever you are, this is the actual workbook that my clinicians, my counselors, my therapists, we work through and with human beings. So the prompt is simple. It says, can you remember who you were before you were told who you should be? Right? Pick an age, write a letter to your younger self. What would you say? Right? So just anytime it is, you just pick an age and write something to that person. You know, there's certain things that they want to hear, that they need to hear, that they should hear. Say it to them. And the therapy question, the processes around it is, why did you pick that age? What advice did you give? And then share it with your group or share it with other people. And, I've done this so many times for myself. There's been so many letters I've written to the little 9 and 10-year-old version of me that moved to Iran and was scared and anxious and terrified. There's been letters I wrote to myself when I was strung out and addicted to drugs and alcohol. There's been times I've written letters to myself at a time that I was clean and sober, but I wanted to give up. There's been times I've written letters to myself that I was overwhelmed up to here, and I didn't think I can get by another day because I had so much school and work and life and responsibilities and bills and all that kind of stuff. And you write letters to your younger self, because guess what, my friends? The future is coming, right? You know how I feel about that, but the future is coming. And one day, this current version of yourself right now is going to be your younger self. Like the person watching me right now is going to be your younger self versus tomorrow, a week from now, a year from now. And you got a chance to take this assignment seriously. So this is a very powerful tool. I got to go back and see if there's any comments. No, okay. So the next assignment that I'm going to go through, I guess I go like this and then share my screen. It's probably better. Okay. I mean, this is something that, I was taught a long time ago. The most simple assignment of all time. On the top it says, gratitude that's not expressed does not exist. Gratitude that is not expressed does not exist. No matter how grateful you think you are for the life you have, no matter how grateful you think you are for the people in your life, no matter how grateful you think you are for the things you have in your life, if you don't express it, you are not. That gratitude only lives inside of your mind, inside of your head, and nobody else gets the benefit from it. Because expressing gratitude, my friends, isn't just something you do for other people. It's something you do for yourself. When you don't express gratitude to others, you also don't receive the benefits of the expression of gratitude. What am I grateful for today? People, places, things, my state of mind. And you just go down and you go down and you go down and you write and you write and you write. Fill this page as you go. Sometimes you might not feel gratitude for certain things. So this one is a working piece, ongoing process. Once in a while, like today I was talking to our program participants, and out here in Southern California, I mean, most of the country right now has beautiful weather, but right now it's really pretty out there, right? And if somebody doesn't add that to their gratitude list, I'm telling you, they are missing out on the opportunity of beauty. And you read it when you're stuck. Because what happens when we get stuck, by the way, when we're stuck as human beings, the thing that happens to all of us is that we lose perspective. And that's what this is all for right now. So if you're a family member watching this thing for the first time, just know that we lose perspective of things in life. I've said this to so many family members that their loved one is doing okay today, relatively okay compared to where they were before. But what do? They lose perspective. They lose perspective because what they're doing now just isn't enough all of a sudden. It's like, God, I wish I could just grab you and take you back to 6 months from now, a year ago, when you were really, really struggling. Wasn't this moment right now what you were hoping for? Wasn't it what you're hoping for? So the next one that I got here is, this one's cool. Appreciation. This is something that, we do around the holidays, but, it's something that I like this assignment. And it says appreciation. So the definition is the recognition and enjoyment of the good qualities of someone or something. Specific values, whatever it is, things you admire, thing you treasure about them, the way you respect them, esteem, all that kind of stuff. write a handwritten postcard or letter to a faraway friend or family member. Now, this handwritten thing is what I like really powerfully, and I'll tell you why I like handwritten stuff. So the handwritten thing is powerful. Oh, hey, thank you, Debbie. I appreciate it. This is awesome. You know, there's going to be some assignments in here that I promise that you guys as a family will be able to do without even ever struggling with addictions yourself. I mean, I know the situation, you know, your family situation, your loved one, but it's all value. It's all value, I promise. So the reason why handwritten is important. Okay, so in this world of like the depersonalized world that we're in, that people tend to type a lot of things and people tend to talk a lot of things into their phone and people tend to just kind of search a lot of things, we've lost the art of the handwritten communication, right? So why is it so special? You know, I'm not just being nostalgic or anything. There's actually something to it. So when I speak, every word that is coming out of my mouth right now is being selectively picked and chosen, if you will, to be able to make it sound like I'm interesting, to be able to, for you to be able to get something out of, for you to think, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, or hey, that was really good. So it's very, very selective. The words I'm choosing to use right now, they're very selective because it goes through this filter of the mind. The words are connected to the mind, and that's why sometimes we have a hard time with communication. But the hand is directly connected to the heart. That's why most people can write things down on a piece of paper that they can never say to another person. I mean, my mom knows I was the king of writing handwritten letters to her and my dad, you know, for both of them. And it was stuff that I could never say to them. It was just things that I could write. But imagine if you could write down some appreciation to people with a pen and paper and send it to them. So this was something that, you know, we do it at Buckeye, and yeah, you know, I do want to say something here. In schools, they don't teach calligraphy anymore, and you're right. Handwriting is precious. You know what's funny, Cataline? So we all know who Steve Jobs is, right? Steve Jobs. Some people love him, some people don't. He passed away, by the way, so rest in peace. Steve Jobs is the founder of, you know, we'll call him one of the heads of Apple that we all know. The story about Steve Jobs is actually pretty interesting. He's one of those, you know, the ones that become really, really famous. They're really smart. They're just, their brains are so powerful. A lot of them don't actually go through the whole formal college process. But Steve Jobs did attend some community college. This story is going to make sense, I promise. Steve Jobs did attend community college, but he wouldn't really go to any classes, or he didn't really care. And he was broke, and he would walk over to the Hare Krishna place and get some free food miles and miles away. He only did it because his adopted parents, and Steve Jobs was adopted, his adopted parents had promised his biological parents that he was going to go to school. That was the condition. So he was doing that just to appease the family members. But long story short, Steve Jobs would go to this calligraphy class. He would go to a calligraphy class inside of his community college. It's the only thing he ever paid attention to. He just liked it. He was fascinated by calligraphy. And later on, years and years later, when he actually founded Apple and they created the first Macintosh computer and all that kind of stuff, Apple was the first computer that ever had any type of fonts in it, like different types of fonts, not just the standard typewriter stuff. It had a bunch of different fonts. All of those fonts that he thought of and saw and put inside the Macintosh and in the Apple computer were things that he learned in calligraphy school, in class, in community college, that was so damn precious. You know, that's something that most people don't know, but it's a fact. So let's see what we got here. I mean, this one's not original, but I'm just going to read this one out. Sorry if I keep going in and out, is because I need to make my screen bigger. So this story is not original, but I have it in there because I think it's a very powerful thing for human beings to be able to recall. And it's called The Two Wolves, and I'll read it for you. It says, there's a story of the two wolves in the Cherokee culture in which a grandfather teaches his grandson an important life lesson. The grandfather tells his grandson that there is a battle going on inside all of us. It is a battle between two wolves that live inside us. He says, my son, the battle is between two wolves that live inside us all. One is evil. It is angry, envy, jealousy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The grandson thinks about it for a while and says, "Which wolf wins?" The grandfather replies, "The one you feed." The one you feed, right? And I'm telling you, you don't have to be a human being that's struggling with addictions to understand this concept here. We all have this duality, this polarity. We have these two sides. The side wins is the one you feed. The more energy you give to that, the greater and stronger it becomes. And, the bottom of the prompt was to share and discuss what the story means to you. So, powerful, powerful stuff. Yeah, this is true. I love the power of handwriting too. My son struggles with printing or typing. Can this stuff succeed in a therapeutic sense if it's voice recording? I do believe it can succeed, because here's the thing. It's for those individuals who have only had this form of experience. It is a kind of a natural and a norm for their understanding, but I do believe that it is more effective, right? So not only effective, it is more effective. Could the other one be effective? Yeah. But I do believe it's more effective if the pen goes in the hand, because what happens when people write, they say, "Oh, I don't have good handwriting," or I'm just not a good writer. Well, who cares? People get worried about their spelling. Who cares? Right? But those are things that kind of get in the way. But when a person starts going, that's why, Martha, there's a very powerful form of journaling, handwritten journaling, called stream of consciousness journaling. And what it is this: no prompt, there's no ideas, no nothing, no formality, no structure. What you do is just write whatever comes to mind. And sometimes people start off with writing, "This is so stupid. I don't even know why I'm trying to write this right now. I'm just doing this because I have to do this." But it's and they just go and go and go and go and go and go and go. And you set a timer for it, like 15 minutes straight, just write. And through this process of stream of consciousness writing, the individual starts to find some type of a flow. It happens to almost all individuals. So I don't want you to think that you can't, in a therapeutic sense, have benefits of voice recording or typing. A lot of individuals like typing, but I don't know why I'm so old school, but I do believe in the therapeutic value of the pen or the pencil is a little bit higher. Good morning, Los Angeles. Let's see what Eileen has here. Handwritten notes were very helpful to me when my children were teenagers. I would slip the notes under the doors when there's an issue that you are attempting to discuss. Too often, the person you are trying to communicate with is forming their response without really listening. Absolutely. I found that the note gave the opportunity to reflect and then discuss it the next day. Eileen, this goes back to what we always talk about. It allows the person to respond rather than to react, right? So reaction, if you tell somebody something, they're going to get defensive and they're going to lash back at you. When you write something to someone and say, "Hey, by the way, let's talk about this tomorrow," it gives them an entire day to process and hopefully come back and respond to that. So great feedback, guys. This is good stuff. So let's see what we have here. So by the way, if you just came in right now, what I'm going through is just giving you some sample pages of the Buckeye Recovery Network workbook, just to kind of see what we expose program participants to and why we do it. What's the intentionality behind it? This is kind of this actually it. This one right here is just speak freely. This is the stream of consciousness stuff. There's no prompt. You just write. You just write whatever comes to your mind and just go with it. It's very powerful because we always think when we talk, we're supposed to talk about something. But what if you're not? What if you just get the opportunity to open up and talk? It's a powerful way to be. I make this a little bigger again. See what we have here. Oh, this is something, by the way. I'll read you one, and then I'll tell you what this prompt is. So this is something that's common in the treatment space, but it's not just for an individual going through the addiction processes, okay? I think all human beings have certain things, behaviors, actions that they need to say goodbye to, right? Whether it's codependency, whether it's enabling, whether it's their drugs and alcohol, whether it's their spending, whether it's their promiscuity, whatever it is, their dietary habits, they have to say goodbye to something in life. But we have a hard time because we're comfortable with the nostalgia and we're comfortable with all that. So here's a sample of a goodbye letter. It says, "Remember me, drugs? You were like my best friend. When I was down and lonely, you picked me up again. We met in a world of darkness and rain, and in just a quick moment, you took away all my pain. We fell in love, seems like overnight, but you clouded my mind and blinded my sight. You kept me in bondage and darkness and fear. When I cried for help, you did not shed a tear. Deep in the shadows, I learned to hide, screaming in silence with you by my side. With everyone calling, where did you go? I was held captive, but no one could know. Hold me no more and now free my soul. Cut the chains that bind me and release me as a whole. You can have me no longer. I'm not yours to keep. You will no longer haunt the dreams when I sleep. Letting go is not weakness, but means that I am strong. I have a chance now to right all my wrongs. I hate you, you demon. Get away from me. Lift the spell and release me. Then happy I will be. Saying goodbye is the hardest, and I know that to be true, but I also know I am strong enough to live without you." So, man, I get goosebumps when I read that. That's a very powerful letter written by someone that I've known a long, long time ago. And so the prompt to that, and this is for all family members, you want to look at this, and it might not be "Dear Alcohol and Drugs." So this is our prompt that we give program participants for writing their goodbye letter to their addiction. I'm not telling you it's easy, but I'm telling you it's worth it. And it's "Dear Alcohol and Drugs." And you just write whatever you want to say to that. So it could be "Dear Codependency," "Dear Enabling," "Dear Unhealthy Communication," "Dear Depression," right? "Dear Laziness," "Dear Anger," whatever you want it to be. It's time to move on to bigger and better things. That's what it says on the bottom of that piece of paper, right? So the next one we got, I'm just going to keep going through. I hope this is helpful, by the way. I'm having a really good time. By the way, I mean, I was very proud of this workbook that I put together. This one's kind of good for anybody that, you know, if you don't know what's toxic relationships, all that kind of stuff. It says relationships are one of the leading causes to relapse in early recovery. Complete this list as a starting point. If you have a history of unhealthy relationships, ask for some help when completing your list. So what is a healthy relationship? And this is the saddest thing in the world. I've had so many program participants over the years. Their healthy relationship, they filled out like 2 or 3 things. Their toxic relationship had like 15 things, 20 things. And you want to know why that's the case? It's all they know. And, you know, the family members that are up here watching this every week, man, you're amazing. You know, you're so passionate. You're so dedicated. You're so committed. I want you to know that you are the exception rather than the rule. There's a lot of human beings that come from serious toxic family systems. All they know is the toxicity around their house. There's no mom and dad supporting them in their recovery journey because they're already struggling themselves out there. So on the bottom of it, it says, create a bottom line and honor your list. So the whole point is, and it says, don't sell out. When you identify what a toxic relationship is and what those red flags are, when you go into the recovery process and you see those red flags, honor your list. Don't sell out. Honor your list. Don't sell out. This is a powerful one as people continue in the recovery process. Let's see, Cataline. Let's see. This is great. Can I get a copy? You know, I normally don't give out copies of this, but I will give you a copy of this. It's okay. Just because you asked, and I will give you a copy of this. You know, because why not? How about that? Let's see what Julian said there. When I was a client, we wrote letters to ourselves and had them sent out a year later and got to read them. Was a big deal to me and my mom to read those letters. Crazy how quickly we grow. Wow. And by the way, Julian, I remember those days. So these assignments that we do, they last with people and people remember them. Right. And yeah, I do remember the 1 year sober thing. And by the way, so the assignment that Julian's talking about right now, Julian, if you have the ability to type what it was, I know exactly what the assignment is because there's a very high possibility I gave it to you. But also it talked about if there's any type of relapse or if I go out drinking and using again too. So if you remember anything about that, let us know what that looked like, okay? My mom said, I have so many precious handwritten letters from you. Some make me happy, some make me cry, some gave me awareness to know who you really are. Yeah, there was I used to write them after some serious mistakes I made, and it was just I was things that I wish I could tell them and like get the support from them, but I didn't have the psychological emotional muscle. I mean, these letters my mom's talking about, I was pretty young, young adult, adolescent to early 20s, that kind of stuff, and I wish I had. And you're welcome, Kathleen. Send me write your email address, and I'll send you my workbook. Okay. Let's see where we are with this. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, if you've known my humor, you know that I like to make some jokes sometimes. And one of them is this. It says, no enemy is worse than bad advice. Okay. And it says, write yourself some really bad advice about a current situation. There's a reason psychologically and therapeutically that this is beneficial. And on the bottom, it says, now do your best to ignore it. Because sometimes when we write out something, it's called playing the tape forward. You write out some really, really bad advice, and then you have the opportunity to read that. And in this specific assignment, I like them to read it out loud to people. And it's so funny. It's because the laughter that happens and the humor that happens, and just like, oh my gosh, like what lives inside my mind? How do I think that this is okay? Sometimes you got to laugh in a therapeutic setting. Right? You got to laugh in a therapeutic setting, and you got to do what you got to do to ignore the things that you need to ignore. Thank you, Cataline. Got it. So let's keep going through this thing. There's not that many, I'm kind of going through the lighter side of this workbook with you guys, if you will. So this next one, so this is more therapeutic. It's draw your family from your perspective. Interpersonal effectiveness. I'm not going to go through all these, but just so you know what these are, interpersonal effectiveness is from DBT, dialectic therapy. And Dear Man is just an acronym for communication. So if you struggle with communication, the Dear Man, the DEA, that goes through, it's pretty much just allows you to be able to communicate. And it gives you some prompts of what it is. So, for example, the D is to describe the situation, express your feelings, assert yourself by asking what you want, reward the other person ahead of time by explaining positive effects. Hey, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. And then just goes through. So this is just like a really nice tool. And on the bottom, look what it says, my friends. Practice makes perfect. I've yet to meet somebody that can go through any DBT worksheet the first time and say, well, just because I learned Dear Man by interpersonal effectiveness, I'm now an effective communicator. That's not real. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. So it says we don't grow when things are easy. We grow when we face challenges. What is the most challenging thing that you've dealt with in the last year? I mean, this is just, it provides insight to the therapist, to the program participants, to the self. And it says, get it off your chest. You don't have to go through it alone ever again. Inner critics. This one's great. This is something that I struggle with majority of my life. It's something that a lot of individuals that struggle with substances struggle with. And there's different types of inner critics we have. Okay, maybe I'll do a whole entire group on this one day. Actually, I probably will. So I'm not going to go over this too much. But inner critics is that voice inside of our head that's usually an external voice that we have downloaded onto our head. Sometimes it could come from society, it can come from parents, it can come from just life in general. And there's the perfectionist, the inner controller, the taskmaster, the underminer, destroyer, guilt tripper, the molder. So we'll go over this one day, but whenever I do this group or my clinicians do this group, everybody's like, yeah. I'm all those, they highly identify with this. And the use of substances, by the way, sometimes is to be able to shut up the inner critic, to quiet it down. Let's see. Parham and his compassion. I have to do it. It says, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserves your love and affection. Are you your own worst critic? Are you hard on yourself? Explain. Have a little compassion towards yourself. Have a little compassion towards yourself. We all need that, whether you struggle with addictions or not. Like, we're just so hard on ourselves. Life is hard enough as it is, my friends. Have a little compassion on yourself. Letting go, the two monks story. I mean, there's some really, really good stuff in here. Oh, this one's great. Okay, my friends. So let's just talk about this one and let me know your thoughts on this specific assignment, because I really think that it is one of the most powerful ones in there, because this will free so many people of so many things. And it says, life becomes easier when you learn to accept the apology that you never got. Is there anyone in your life that owes you an apology, including yourself? What would you want them to say? What would you say to them? So there's so many people that just wait and wait and wait for something or someone to come tell them, hey, I'm sorry I did you wrong. I apologize to you. Please forgive me. And they wait forever for that person to come say that. But here's the thing, my friend. What if that person never comes? What if that person never apologizes? What if you never get that apology that you deserve, but you never wanted it? Right? So this assignment allows you to say, hey, what is it that I want to hear? What is it I need to hear? And I get it. You're not getting it from the person, but at least you're gaining a little insight and awareness into what you need. And what would you say to them if you had the opportunity? Like, if they actually apologize to you, what would you say to them? So this is kind of stuff this is highly therapeutic stuff. And, it's very powerful when it comes to program participants in their recovery. So let's see what else we got here. Skip through that one. Oh, distress tolerance. This is another thing that's rooted in DBT. So it's negative feeling. So whenever someone's feeling triggered in emotions, and that kind of like they're dysregulated, distress tolerance is a form of distraction. It comes from form of DBT. It allows you to be able to find different ways. So through activities, contributing, comparisons, emotions, pushing away, thoughts, sensations, all techniques to be able to self-regulate your emotions, so you don't have to use a drink, a drug, or a behavior to be able to regulate. Power of your breath. Parham will never do anything without talking about breathing. Even though I don't breathe myself when I talk, I've been going one breath for the past 40 minutes almost. When you doubt your power, okay, no, let's find some defense mechanisms. I'm going to do a whole group on this with everybody because it's very powerful. And even as family members, there's mechanisms that you've put in place to defend you from certain things. Now, it has nothing to do with the addiction or the mental illness of your loved one. These defense mechanisms are usually imprinted in us and kind of like implanted in us long before you even had a child. Just remember that. Never give up. This is just something I put in there. It's a therapeutic tool to be able to color. I know that sounds childish, but remember this, that we all have a child within us. And it's actually very meditative and very peaceful to be able to color this thing with like multiple different colors with perfection to the best of the ability, because, there's some meditative nature of seeing color fill up a page. There's something to that. Let's see what we got here. Oh, the backpack of life. You've all seen me do the backpack of life. I created a worksheet out of it. It's really, really cool. I'm very proud of it. So this one's really important to me. I actually did a talk with our program participants today, and I said, tell me what you stand for, or you're going to fall for anything. That comes from JFK. If you don't know what your values are in life, you're going to get lost. And society doesn't really teach us values. They teach us these things that we think are values, but there's a list of values, and it's called values identification. And to be able to find what it is that means something to you, and then make them your true north, your guide, like make them the way you live your life through your values. It's so powerful, and it makes life so much easier. So a lot of people who come through programs have no idea what their value systems are. And something like this allows them to be able to identify those. There's a hole in the sidewalk. This is a I'm probably going to stop on this one. There's more to the workbook, but there's a time thing that I got going on here. I just want to read this one because this is it's not by me. It comes from kind of like a 12-step type thing, but I'm going to read it with you and maybe we can get some discussion on this one. I'll get out of here. So it says, there is a hole in my sidewalk. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes me a long time to get out. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. I walk down another street. Man, that poem is so cool. And God does that relate on so many different things. So let me stop my screen share here and get back to Param Solo. Okay. So as you can tell, I just wanted to kind of give you a little something about, in my opinion, and this is not just a personal opinion, but personal professional opinion, that when assisting human beings get a deeper insight into themselves, it's not always like, hey, read this book and tell us what you think. It could just be giving them a blank page to write, giving them a prompt to let them think, because not everybody learns the same way, and freedom of expression is important. So if some of those things were valuable to you, I suggest go rewatch this and maybe do a couple of those assignments yourself. Why not? And it's something that, I'm proud of. I've taken this workbook to a few different treatment centers in a few different states, and they've always been blown away by how forward thinking it is compared to some of the old literature that's been recycled. And a lot of it's based, like I said, in DBT and in practices that are proven. They call them evidence-based practices. The package I created looks a little bit different instead of looking like a textbook. But that's kind of what I wanted to do this week. And by the way, next Saturday, I won't be here. And the reason is because I will be in San Diego for a basketball tournament all Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of next week, coaching the youth of tomorrow as an assistant coach. But I'm excited for it. I love it so much. And I'll be back 2 weeks from now on Saturday. And I got some really nice ideas and cool different, Saturday interventions I want to do with you. So stay tuned. I love and appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for your time, energy, patience, for your support of this live stream. You can count on me to do my part and continue walking down this journey of healing and recovery together. So hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful rest of the weekend. Go out there the same way I told the program participants. Be grateful for the weather if you have nice weather where you live. And thank you again. Shout out to anybody watching from wherever you may be watching. You're very welcome. Martha, Cataline, Eileen, my mom. Who else was here? Julian, Hossein, we have Debbie, all you guys, Martin from Ireland. Hey, appreciate you, man. And we'll 2 weeks from now, same time, same place. Love and appreciate you. See you soon. Okay. Bye, everyone.